Welcome to Morganton Live. I'm here with my good friend Danny Dixon. Had Danny on the podcast not long ago, and man, Danny, I always enjoy talking with you because you're connected to the community, and that's what we were just talking about, all the things that's happening here in our community, and you're just such a wonderful person to express the different things you've experienced in life.
Well, thanks, Mike. I thank you, first of all, for allowing me to come back. I do appreciate this. It's an honor for me to do this, and I'm having fun.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying my part of my life right now, and again, I thank you for turning around and exposing the community to so many good things that are happening here in Morganton and the Burke County area.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what we were just talking about. Is we're kind of trying to turn inward. You know, everybody's doing all kind of things outwardly, but I'm all about Morganton. I'm all about our community. I don't want to go nowhere else. I want to have the best and everything, and that's why I'm so excited about having people like you and so many people in the community like you that are plugging in. Everybody's got their gifts, their talents, and they're bringing it in. We were just talking about the different festivals that were going on. The Oyster Festival you were telling about, that was the first time you'd been to that. I haven't been to one yet, not because I was out of town on an anniversary. But tell me about your experience on that.
Well, Mike, I tell you, it's a matter of fact, it was my very first opportunity to experience this as well too. Deb Jones with the Arts Council said, "Hey, look, would you mind, checking IDs for us?" And I said, "Well, absolutely. How can I help and check IDs?" And that was great because there was going to be some alcoholic beverages served there, and everything was just so professional and clean and above board, and no one got out of the way. And just meeting other people in the community was really, really neat. And Mike, one of the most unique experiences I had while I was down there was some folks coming in from British Columbia. Yeah. And they were coming through the interstate and decided they wanted to check out Morganton. Okay. And they came through, and then they came through my identification area, and they said, "What are y'all having here?" And I said, "Well, an oyster roast." And they said, "Well, can we come in?" I said, "Sure." "Well, what are you going to charge us?" I said, "Well, nothing." I said, "But I would like to see your ID." And they had a remarkable time. And the funny thing about it was, Mike, they had traveled from British Columbia down to Miami, and they were working their way back up the East Coast.
They come through Morganton.
And they come through Morganton.
What about that?
And just, and they had a wonderful time. They were here for a couple hours, and the food was great. It was just a wonderful, there was a band playing, people were dancing, and just a joyous festivity. Yeah. And I thank Deb Jones and the Arts Council for doing that.
Oh, yeah, man. I love Deb Jones and everything she's doing down there, and the team, and just everybody involved, and all the music that's coming, all the new life that's coming. I'm excited about all these things. People don't realize it yet, but Morganton, is going to be the place to be at. And I don't believe that we're here by accident. And so that's why I'm so just tuned in to building this city, and just with all the different peoples. We were talking about the food festival, at the Catholic Church.
Yeah, at St. Charles.
Man, now that was funny, because I've never seen it. I thought the Morganton, the historic festival was going on because there was no place to park on that side of town. Tell me a little bit about that, because that was awesome.
Mike, St. Charles Borromeo has the International Festival once a year, and granted, COVID hit us, and we weren't able to turn around and do that for the last several years. But parish council got together and said, "Hey, listen, let's do it again." And they wanted to invite people from all over Burke County and bring this international festivity together. Awesome. And there were people from Hispanic folks, Hmong folks, Asian folks.
Yeah, man.
You can imagine from Africa. I mean, just
gorgeous.
It was from all multiple nations, and they would come in and they were celebrating their food and their heritage, and there were people that were showing their dancing and their skills, and just and it was a lot of fun. Granted, there was a silent auction there as well too. And it was just an opportunity to make some money for the parish.
Right.
And did you know, I was speaking with some folks with the Asian community because they make some of the best egg rolls. You've experienced those. Egg rolls. Hey, the egg rolls are squared away. Some of the best I've ever eaten in my life. But they had mentioned to me that they had made and sold over 4,000 egg rolls in one day, one setting. 4,000. Can you imagine?
And I can imagine eating a bunch of them.
Oh, geez, I ate a couple ones, but you bought out. You bought those egg rolls, and I didn't get a chance to turn around and buy very many of them. I was going to bring some home, but they were sold out.
That's the first thing that goes, man.
Wow. And Purple rice. Have you ever had purple rice?
No,
I didn't know what
not.
purple rice was either. They made purple rice. They made so many things
Purple
there,
rice.
and it was very good. It's just a very sticky rice.
Okay,
and,
now like the sticky mango rice.
it's yes.
Asian Fusion makes that.
Hey, listen,
here in town. I love Asian
I'll
Fusion.
tell you what, that's a ticket. So against hey, maybe we'll have to go over there.
Yeah,
sometime.
we're not going over there right now. They got a hibachi thing. I mean, things are coming to
Sure.
Morganton. People are excited. You know, we got events and things like that. And I'm excited about all that. I'm excited about the restaurants that are coming. I'm excited about the infrastructure, excited about the beautification, excited about the long-range plans, the short-range plans. And we're experiencing it right now, Danny.
We are. You know, Mike, I was in Fayetteville, North Carolina, at Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, and I was talking with some friends of mine, and they said, "Hey, don't you live at a place called where in Morganton where they have the School of Math and Science?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Yeah." Well, do you realize it's only one of the two institutions that have that available? You know, of course, we have one on the eastern part of North Carolina,
Right.
but we have that here at Western Piedmont.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just remarkable. And, you know, so even just meeting with people that I haven't seen in a while,
Yeah.
but then Morganton is on the map.
Yeah. Yep, it's you know, we were talking about this before the podcast. Just, I love our state. I love the Carolinas. You know, I'm a sand lapper, but my mom was a Tar Heel.
Sand lapper?
You know, yeah, my
What does that
dad
mean?
took me down there. You know how that
you
goes.
talking about
kinda stuff goes. No, South Carolina.
Oh, sand lapper. I didn't know that.
Sand lapper.
That's the
you know?
first time I've ever
Man,
heard
this
that.
hurts my feelings. You didn't know we were sand lappers. That's what
No,
South
I just thought y'all were
Carolinians-
the Palmetto State.
Well, we are the Palmetto State.
that's it.
And another thing about the Palmetto State, while we're talking about it, you know, you always think about the Palmetto tree and the crescent moon, right?
I get that.
It's not a crescent moon.
It's not?
No,
What
I
is
always
it?
thought it was a crescent moon. It's a neck guard that they use to keep the people from cutting. You know, you probably know about this in battles and
Oh,
stuff.
well, absolutely. The jungle.
What do
yeah,
you call that?
Yeah, well, it was as a protector so that way when it would come through, it would not turn out and choke
Well, that's
them
what
out.
that is on the South Carolina flag.
I did not know that.
Back to North Carolina, you know, I was a sand lapper, but my mom was a Tar Heel, and you know, I love North Carolina, and that's what we're talking about. It's just the Carolinas, our city. You know, you was talking about people down at Fort Bragg. We was talking about
Right.
Wilmington,
Right.
and all the things that are going on in our state. You know, our state's loved, and I'm glad to be here.
You know, one of the things that I had thought about for many, many years was the fact that a good friend of mine had mentioned the fact that Fayetteville, Fort Bragg had never seen a recession.
Yeah.
Because there were so many troops at Fort Bragg.
Right.
Mike, you know, being around from that Rayford area and everything, did you realize that the Fayetteville, Fort Bragg area, well, Fort Bragg, first of all, is the world's largest military installation. The world's largest military installation. And I had a good friend of mine to tell me many years ago that the fact that there would be more generals at Fort Bragg than there would be at the Pentagon.
Wow.
And they were going to bring an additional 50,000 troops into the Fort Bragg area. And keeping in mind, you know, they house the 82nd Airborne Division,
Right.
Special Forces, Special Operations and Delta Force, and you know, and then all the supports that is needed. You know, with Pope Air Force Base.
Wow.
Then you have Jacksonville. You know, with the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
and then of course you'd have the Port of Wilmington. You know, can bring in some naval folks.
Right.
And so you know, we really are very fortunate to have
Yes.
Fort Bragg and their stability that's here.
Yeah.
That make this such a great state.
Oh man, it's you know, I'm learning more and more. We was talking about that, you know, like the Oyster Festival and different. I'm learning more and more about appreciating where I'm at. Appreciating where your local community is, and knowing traditions, knowing the history, you know, just everything that's going on here in Morganton. You know, that's what I'm trying to delve into, is all the backstories, all the history, and all the people that are coming in, and how we're making up this community, and finding out what our heritage is.
You know, Mike, one of the things that again that really impressed me with Morganton was Table Rock.
Yeah.
Which again, you know, coming from Fayetteville, I didn't know what Table Rock was about.
Right.
But over the years that Deb and I have been here, we have pictures of Table Rock during the fall,
Right.
during the spring, during the summer, during the winter, and it's just beautiful.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just beautiful. The landscape, and you know what? And the fall foliage this year alone,
Oh,
I had
man.
taken so many photographs out at Lake James,
Yeah.
and of course, and around our home, that realistically, I didn't need to go to Boone. I didn't
Right.
need to go, you know, further west
Yeah.
or up north.
Right.
The landscape here in Morganton and Burke County was beautiful.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over that.
Oh, it was gorgeous out the South Mountains out there where I
Right.
live. You're up at Lake James. I'm out of, you know, out the South Mountains area, and it's been a beautiful fall. It really has.
Well, you know, Mike, I was telling you this morning, I was speaking with some folks that are from the Winston-Salem area, and that they were looking to move out towards the lake. And we were meeting this morning and just talking about just things just in general. And I asked them, I said, yeah, how did you find out about this place? And again, it was all word of mouth. the fact of that, and it was all positive.
Yeah.
We couldn't wait to come visit Morganton
Yeah.
and Burke County and everything it has to offer. It still has, a small town atmosphere, but yet it could be a launching point if people needed to go to Charlotte or needed to go to Asheville or up into Boone. And having the ski lodges are getting ready to start to open. And we're just so fortunate.
Yes, we are.
We really, truly are.
I love it here.
Well, this is home as far as I'm concerned.
It is for me,
the rest
too.
of my life.
All right, Danny, let's change gears a little bit. We're all about the local community and building the local community, and I'm all in on that. So I've kind of put all the stuff that's going on around the world out of mind. You can't, to a certain degree, because we know we was talking about this earlier about, with the police and wars and rumors of wars, things that's going on in our world makes people unrest. There needs to be some hope, too, through all those things. It's the worst of times, the best of times. And I'm kind of trying to, it's hard to build and do the best of times when you see so much hurt going on around the world. It's hard to put that to the side and try to build something good and laugh when people are crying.
Mike, I get exactly where you're coming from. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have to go back to the International Food Festival at St. Charles Borromeo for the mere fact of bringing so many cultures together.
Yeah.
Granted, we have a strong Hispanic community here, and I was the MC there during the festival, and I was able to provide all the English that was necessary.
Yes. He didn't provide no transportation up the hill, though.
No, I couldn't do that. However, Mike said he wanted to exercise. Let's be honest with that one.
I didn't need the exercise.
But, we had the Hispanic community. They would come in and interpret. Right. And that was just so neat. And being able to just involve yourselves with the folks.
Right.
And, Mike, one of the biggest factors that touched my life during that specific day were there a group of Hispanic children. And they looked to be in their age ranges, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they had just busted a piñata. And candy went everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, there were a group of those little kids that came over to me and offered me their candy.
Ain't that something?
Their candy. They didn't know me from Adam.
Yeah.
But they offered me their candy. Yeah. And I got to thinking, if we could share more, that was just so, again, it was very touching. It was a very God-spirited moment.
Yeah.
And, it just touched my heart so much. And again, that's why, again, I'm glad to be a part of this community so that we can get involved. And granted, there's some tragedies that are taking place outside of this country. It's sad. But you know what? We will get through this again. And I really believe in my heart, God's going to prevail. Yeah. God's going to prevail. No if, no and, no buts about it.
I believe it too, Dan. I believe we have to be faithful where we're at. You got to find out where you're planted and stay planted. And it takes, everybody goes through seasons in their lives, but, me and my season now is a season of really staying and making everything healthy for the next generation, making things better. You get a point in your life where you want to make things better, give back, all your talents. And, it takes all of us and everybody. Our community is so beautiful. I love the Hmong people and their heritage and, all the murals that are on the building. And I love the beauty of when they dress up. I mean, heck, us old people like me, we'll kick around in our dirt bags, but these people dress up and their culture and they're so prideful, not in a bad way, but proud of their heritage. And I love to see that. I love to see the goodness of everybody's culture come out and celebrate one another.
Well, Mike, it's sort of like the beginning of the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution. We the people.
We the people.
And it talks about, the whole notion of that so many people will come from all over the world to be a part of America and see what we have. And to me, that's just so encouraging and it's so enlightening. And to learn from other cultures, that's a great experience.
Yes, we got to keep pushing that point. We are America. We was talking about this earlier. The Western movies, all the different American flags. I'm all about that. I think it's beautiful. We're Americans, man. We're a melting pot. It takes all of us, man, and I love that.
Mike, I recently was down at Fort Bragg, specifically during Veterans Day, and being down there and seeing all the American flags, whether it be at the cemetery at Sand Hills, the cemetery, of course, locally there in Fayetteville, and just seeing, of course, the representation of the pride and the heritage that Fort Bragg and Fayetteville was displaying at that time by, again, the symbolic issue of looking at the flag, the American flag.
Yeah. I love that, Dana. I love, Jim Rohn said something always, really, he was like a mentor to me. He's passed now. He's well-known public speaker, entrepreneur, and very, very powerful man, successful speaker. And he always talked about how in all the things that we're doing, it's like the Pledge of Allegiance. It starts with I and it ends with all. And it takes everybody doing their part, everybody plugging in, everybody bringing their game, and I see that. I like seeing all the pieces come together, and it's being, one people, e pluribus unum.
Unum. Mike, one of the reasons I applaud you for doing the podcast is you are doing that. You're not just talking the talk, you are walking the walk. Again, allowing me to come back, and the different people that you introduce yourself to, and then that you turn around and expose, throughout your podcast, the different subject matter that you bring about. It's just so unique and revealing. And again, we're learning from that. I learn from that. I know that when I have the opportunity to review your podcast, I really enjoy what I'm seeing. And it doesn't matter where you're at. And to me, that's it. You have to turn around and get exposed and get the information from where you can get it. You know what? Being a better informed person.
Yeah. That's it. And that's what we want to do here at Morganton Live, and with everybody's backstory and everybody that's here in town, and everybody that's trying to do something good. That's what we're trying to do, Danny. Is all. I'm ready to cater to all the good people.
Mike, that's the whole purpose of one of the reasons I'm here is I want to help. I don't have all the answers. Yeah. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I want to take what talent I do have and just help other people. Yeah. Because again, I really believe in helping others that they may learn. Just like the children giving candy to me. Yeah. That's a lifelong experience that I will never forget as long as I live.
Gives you hope for the next generation. It does. That they got the right spirit.
We have to keep that forward. Yeah. We have to keep that moving forward, Mike.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, speaking of that, Danny, let's talk a little bit more, a little different. Let's change gears again. Because I still want to know some things about you, and we'll make this kind of maybe the last. You're gonna keep coming back, and because I love talking about stuff like this. But Danny, you did some pretty unique things in your life. You shot some pictures to me of special forces, and I don't know what all those pictures. I don't even know where you was at. One of them didn't even look like you. I thought, is that Danny? Or is that an amigo? Danny's pulling one on me or something.
Oh, Mike, I was really excited about Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
A good friend of mine started off everything on Veterans Day, and his name is Bill Caldwell. And Bill eventually become a 3-star general, and become the commander of the 82nd Airborne.
Okay.
And the funny thing about meeting Bill was I was with the Ranger Battalion down at Fort Stewart, and I came down on the levee right after Vietnam, coming to the 82nd Airborne Division. And I happened to meet Bill at that time. He was a second lieutenant, and I was a young E5 buck sergeant. And he said, "Hey, I want you to work for me." And I said, "Hey, I want to work for you." And we had a combat support company. In other words, we had 5 gun jeeps. We had 5, what we refer to as a gamma goat. It would be today's 4-wheelers, so to speak. And they were just sort of neat, mules, all kinds of stuff. And it was just sort of neat by being able to travel all over the world with him. And one of the photos I was wanting to share with you was the actual invasion of Panama.
Oh, man.
And so, and it was sort of neat as well, too, because out of 13 C-130s, I was the very first man to jump out to lead the invasion.
Wow.
And I was really, really nervous, to be honest with you. I was 19 years old, and my colonel came to me and he said, "You're going to turn around and be the first man out the first aircraft." And I said, "Thank you." And I was going to pin out some markers that my mom had made, and they were Denver Bronco colors. I'll never forget, because my colonel came to me and he goes, "You have any idea about some symbolic markers we could get together that no one would really recognize?" And I said, "Well, let me give it a thought here, Colonel." And I went and spoke with my mom, and I said, "Mother," I said, "can you make us some square banners?" She goes, "Well, I have some material. It's orange and blue. I don't know if you could use it or not." I said, "Please." And she made 10 of those. They looked like flags, and it was sort of neat. So we pinned them up different places. But the invasion of Panama was very unique.
Wow.
And spending some time in the jungle there.
Man, I wouldn't want to be a part of that, because I was watching some backstory on the Panama canal, and that was the real deal. There's thousands of people that didn't make it on that. About bankrupt the French government.
Absolutely.
And just the Suez was different than the Panama. Them mountains, and what was the lake? The big lake, Gutan or Rutan or something. Well, you don't know all that.
That I can't really share with you, but I will share this with you. The drop zone was called Gatun DZ.
Okay, Gatun. That's the lake.
Yes. I think. So I'm going to tell you but the experience of that is, if you jump out too soon, you come across the Chagres River, which is the most shark-infested river in the world.
Really?
Really.
A river?
If you go too far to the left, you end up in the Atlantic Ocean. You end up too far to the right, you end up in the Pacific Ocean. And if you live further out, you end up in these trees that could be over 300 foot tall. And so you talking about getting worried.
Oh, my
Luckily,
goodness.
Mike, the door bundle got stuck.
Right.
At the box of C-130, they dropped the door bundle. It got stuck, and so by the time they got it out, I was over the very center of the drop zone.
Oh my
Like,
goodness!
I said, "Well, geez, this is great."
Wonderful.
But it was, and it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
And I learned so much from the Panamanian people.
Yeah.
And again, from the Colombian folks. There's so many good people that were down there. The whole vision was to deal with Noriega,
Yeah.
deal with the Colombian cartel.
Right.
And it was, again, a very much a learning experience. But having that opportunity to travel around the world a little
Yeah.
bit and to learn things.
Yeah.
And again, it was a very valued experience to me.
Yeah.
And I've always tried to take that experience with me everywhere I've gone.
Right.
Now, I've told you beforehand, I'd jump in all these airplanes. I used to be 6 foot tall. And I kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter every time. Ask Jody or Jerry.
All that landing.
Yeah, all those landings, hard landings will
pushing you
sort of
down.
get you. But, the whole notion of that was to experience a foreign country.
Right.
And, again, I was so proud to come back to the United States once leaving there.
Yeah, definitely.
It was just and at age 19, again, there were some very tragic and horrid moments that we all experienced, and I was able to come back and share some of those experiences with my father. And we talked about that. We talked about how life is very short and life is very precious.
Yeah, it is. But that comes full circle, Danny, because all the different things that's going on in the world, man. People, we don't realize how blessed and how thankful it is to be here in the United States.
Right.
And man, I don't take that lightly. And that's the narrative, a lot of people shed a lot of blood, a lot of crazy things have happened in our past and our history, but man, we pressing on, we building better, we're getting better.
We have to, Mike. We have to. Again, the whole notion is by being able to share our experiences too. If we can share that, again, with other people in the world to make this a safer world.
Yeah.
And you and I both, again, have mentioned the fact that we like being here in Morganton. We like being here in Burke County because, again, we are so fortunate. We have so much to be thankful for.
All right, Danny, we're talking about veterans, and we love our veterans. What's that on your shirt there?
Mike, this is a symbol of the 82nd Airborne Division. Bottom line is 82nd stands for All American.
Right.
And there are the most mobile division in the entire United States Army that we can travel, go anywhere, and respond to any crisis within 24 to 48 hours in the entire world. And I wore this today. Being a part of the 82nd Airborne, I'm very honored and thankful to have been a part and been able to travel all over the world because of the 82nd.
Right.
But they're mobile. The men and women that serve in today's Army, they're prepared and they're ready to turn and protect our country to the very end.
I'm so thankful for our veterans. I'm very patriotic. That's why I love the American flag. I can't wait to have the biggest one around in Burke Counties, honoring our public safety and our veterans and everybody else. That's the veterans, what they have done, for us to experience the things we have, and gosh, it's incredible.
Absolutely, because the time, the sacrifices, and coming from a military family, you come from a military family. I come from a military family, and again, there's a lot of sacrifice that takes place with families and being away, and I'll tell you. Veterans Day is a very important day for me. Again, like I said, and I thank all the veterans that came before me, and I thank the people that are veterans now. My son right now is just informed me that he's going to be retiring next year. He's in the Coast Guard.
Wow.
It's just seeing, of course, the contributions that people have made, because Mike, I hadn't seen him in 3 years because he had been on service, on tour between Norfolk and Columbia, South America for the last 3 years. Wow. They're running drug runners.
Yeah. I tell you what, carrying the torch of good is what I believe our veterans have always, we've had our moments and things that have went wrong, but man, our veterans and what they've done and sacrifices so that we could sit here and enjoy the things that we have and the freedoms we have, and it moves me tremendously. And so thank you, Danny.
I'm glad. Well, thank you. Like I said, it's great being a part of a military family. Our DAV here in Burke County is I have had the opportunity to meet some remarkable people that served before me and some people that have served after me. And again, just meeting those men and women that have laid down their sacrifices for us here in Burke County has been remarkable.
Yes.
And again, so if you have the opportunity, you'd like to visit the DAV, I'd like for us to maybe go out there sometime.
Man, always, man. Salute to our veterans.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
Absolutely.
We love America. Thank you, Danny, for being with us, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Mike.
Man, love you, brother.
I love you, man.